Let's do it live. Ahoy friends, Dr. Alex Ritza here, downtown Toronto chiropractor, and you might be wondering one of two things. Number one, why do you look like an idiot, Alex? Or number two, really sweet kid. And if it's number two, then this video is for you, because this video is an adjunct to our episode 1 of Dr. Alex Presents Lunch and Learns. And it is all about numbness and tingling in the hands, but specifically for cyclists. So if you have ever ridden a bike for any length of distance, and especially with summer come up, I think this is going to apply to a lot of people, you know that sometimes you can get some numbness and tingling in the arm or the hand, and usually it's with respect to a specific nerve called the ulnar nerve. And if anybody gets numbness and tingling into their hand with cycling, I'd say probably 90 to 95% of cases it is because of this problem. So in episode 1 we talked a little bit about why numbness and tingling happens, and in episode 1, let's call this 1A, we're going to talk about why this happens in cyclists. So first a little anatomy. On my hand I went to town with some markers, and you can see that I've drawn on the path of a couple different nerves. So the one that we're going to pay particular attention to is the ulnar nerve, and that's in green. So the ulnar nerve is made up of the C7 and T1 nerve roots in the neck, and it travels down through the inside of the arm, underneath the elbow, and comes out in green here and goes into the the pinky and the last, I guess that's your index finger. I always get confused. So it goes into the last two fingers, and this happens for two reasons, the numbness and tingling with riding. Number one, core problem with the neck. Number two, setup of the bike, or both. So let's talk about number one, the core problem with the neck. So when we get into that forward cycling position and the neck juts out, it puts a lot of pressure onto the lower part of the neck and can really jam some of the lower joints and cause some muscle tightness, which might put a little bit of extra pressure on the C7 and T1 nerve roots. So we know from episode 1, nerves do not like pressure. Pressure on nerves equals numbness and tingling and pain and worse and not good things. So when we get into that cycling position, if there's a core issue with the neck and there's already some swelling or inflammation or postural distortion or degenerative change that we talked about, it's going to put pressure on the nerves of the neck, and usually we feel that numbness and tingling into the hand. So if that's what it is, core problem with the neck, get it fixed. Number 2 is bike setup. So a big thing with bike setup can kind of relate to number 1. If you're being projected too far forward and it's really jamming the neck, that's going to be a big thing, and you need to get that corrected as well. But the usual reason for this, a lot of this numbness and tingling, if it's not a core issue with the neck, has to do with a funny little thing called the tunnel of Dion. And that's where the ulnar nerve travels underneath the pisiform bone in the hand. It's one of the carpal bones of the wrist, and it travels through this little tunnel, and it goes into those last two fingers. So when you're on a road bike, or I guess you could also be on a mountain or another hybrid, this is literally where most of the pressure from your entire upper body is going to sit. So it's going to be concentrated really right here over that tunnel of Dion, right where the ulnar nerve is. So we know with extended pressure on any nerve point, if that's continued and it's compressing that nerve, you're going to get some numbness and tingling. So in terms of bike setup, that's where you might be having too much pressure on this part, and that can be due to a whole host of reasons, which is not the purpose of this video. One thing that you can do that will make a big difference, bike gloves. These little gel paddings in here, they go a long way, and even if your neck is perfect and your bike is fit perfectly, these guys can save your hand, so huge thing. So in terms of bike setup, I do not recommend doing it yourself. It will not get you anywhere. Go see a professional. If you need somebody, I don't get paid or endorsed for doing this in any way. I really like Lauren at Duke Cycle. He is awesome. They use the Guru Bike Fitter. You're in and out in an hour and a half. It's a really fantastic, not too expensive process. Go do it. It could save your body, save your cycling season. So the bike fit is really important. And if it's a neck issue, you got to work on stretching the neck. You got to work on getting those sitting antidotes in that we've been talking about so much, so that it helps your posture, helps the neck, helps that ulnar nerve going down into the hand, so that you get to actually enjoy the cycling that you do. Next episode, in episode 2, we are going to talk about some actual fixes for this ulnar nerve issue as well as some other nerve problems if you're having numbness and tingling from your neck down into your hand. So, for all my fellow cyclists, I hope this video was useful. It might just be a really good reminder to get a bike fit, and I will see you out on the road, avec helmet, and have a great day, guys.